Assalamu WRB. Welcome to the Learning Quran. So we are resuming the ayat number 21 of Surah Al Baqarah from the yesterday's video. So we paused ayat number 21 of the Surah Al Baqarah. So we are resuming the video right now, right here. Okay, so let's start. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the significance of the basic declaration of the Islamic creed. La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. But obviously, it is not enough to affirm the oneness of God orally. One must have a complete certitude and must also have the truth always present close to one's heart. For Tawheed is to see God as one and not merely to say that He is one. Today, the number of those who can respect this basic formula of the Islamic creed runs to millions all over the world. Far more than it ever did, but mostly it is just expense of the breath. Their lives don't show the color of Tawheed, otherwise they should have been like their forefathers, who were daunted neither by wealth nor by the power, or neither by the numbers nor by the pomp, and show the turn their back upon the truth. When a prophet could all by himself stand up against the worlds and say, Summa kiduna fala tunzirun, so try your guile on me, then give me no respite. If the blessed companion and their successors came to dominate the world in a few years, the secret lay in this Tawheed, correctly understood and practiced. May Allah bless all the Muslims with this great gift. So, being a Muslim is not enough only. We must also practice all this stuff that the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam do, and he did the everything. He acted upon what the Allah Rabbul Izzat said. So we need to follow the footprint of the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, all the doings of the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We should need follow the sunnah of the Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we try our best to be a perfect Muslim. Yeah. So next ayah, Alladhi, the one who ja'ala made lakumu for you al-arza, the earth, firashan, a resting place, was-samaa, and the sky, bina'an, a canopy, wa-anzala, and sent down, minas-samaa'i, from the sky, ma and water, فأخرج, then brought forth, bihi, therewith, mina, from, الثمرات, the fruits, rizqan, as provision, lakum, for you, fala, so do not, taj'alu, set up, lillahi, to Allah, andadan, rivals, wa antum ta'lamun, while you know. Who made the earth a bed for you, and the sky a roof, and sent down the water from the sky, then through it brought forth out of the fruits provisions for you. So don't set a parallel to Allah when you know. That is to say, once one has understood that in reality Allah alone is the creator and the provider. One who will also understood that no one else can be worthy of worship, of being associated with Allah as an equal or rival God. To sum up, these two verses call men to what is the essential purpose of sending down all the divine books and all the prophets, Tawheed, or the affirmation and the worship of the one God. Tawheed is a doctrine which has an all-pervading and radically transforming impact on every sphere of human life, internal as well as the external, individuals as well as collective. For once a man comes to believe that there is only one being who alone is the creator, the Lord and the master of the universe, who alone is all-powerful and ordain the slightest movement of the smallest atom, and without whose will no one can harm or do good to another. Such a man, rich or poor, in a joy or sorrow, would always look only towards the one being and gain the insight to discover behind the veil of apparent causes the workings of the same omnipotence. If our modern worshippers of the energy only had some understanding of the doctrine of Tawheed, they would easily see the power resides neither in the steam nor in the electricity, but that the source of all powers is the one being who has created steam and electricity. To know this, however, one must have insight. The greatest philosopher in the world, if he fails to see this truth, is not better than the rustic fool who saw a railway train move at the waving of a green flag and stop at the waving of a red flag, and concluding that it was the power of the green and the red flag that controlled the movement of the huge train, made an obscene to them. People would laugh at the rustic, for he did not know that the two flags are merely signs only, while the train is actually run by the driver, or the better still, by the engine. A more prospective observer would ascribe the function of the steam inside the engine. But he who believed in the one God would laugh at these wise men, for he can see through the steam, the fire, and the water even, and discover behind the appearance the might of the one and only one being who has created the fire and water, and who will makes them to perform their allotted functions, employs the Arabic particle Allah, which indicates that expectations or hope, and is used on an occasion when it is not definite that a certain action or the event would necessarily be actualized. Nor if one does really possess Iman, faith, and does really believe in Tawheed, one would in consequence definitely attain the salvation and go to heaven as Allah Himself has promised. But here is a certainly has been expressed in terms of the expectation or the hope in order to make a man realize that no man action by itself and in itself can bring salvation as a necessary reward. One can attain salvation and go to heaven only by the grace of Allah alone. The ability to perform the good deeds and the Iman itself is only a sign of divine grace. Note the cause, the next verse recounts some other qualities of Allah with regards to the act of the nurturing, with the difference that while the verse 21 spoke of the bounties of the Allah pertaining to the human self, verse 22 speaks the whose pertaining of man's physical environment, since the man's being basically has a two dimensions, one internal, a nafs, and the other external, afaq, and two verses in a summary way encompass all the kinds of blessing that descends on a man from the Allah. Among the cosmic bounties, the first to be mentioned is the earth, which has made a bed for man. It is neither soft and fluid like water, on which one cannot settle, nor hard like the stone or the steel that should make it difficult to be harnessed for man's purpose, but has been given a middle state between the soft and the hard for the man to utilize it conveniently in his daily life. The Arabic word firash, bed. Firash means bed, which literally means something spread out, does not necessarily imply that the earth is not round, for the great globe of the earth, in spite of being round, appears to be flat on the onlooker, and the usual way of the Holy Quran is to describe the things in an aspect which should be familiar to an average man, literate or the illiterate, city dweller or the rustic. The other bounty is that the sky has been made like an ornamented and beautiful ceiling. The third is that Allah sent down water from the sky. This again does not necessarily mean that water comes down directly from the sky without the medium of the clouds. Even in everyday idiom, a thing coming down from the above, it is said to be coming from the sky. The Holy Quran itself on the several occasions refer to the Allah sending down the water from the clouds. Did it send it down from the clouds, or did we send it? 56, 69. and have sent down from the rain clouds abundant water. 78:14. The fourth bounty is to bring the fourth fruits with this water and to provide the nourishment to the man for them from them. The first three of these bounties are of an order in which the man's effort or the actions, his very being even, does not enter at all. There was no sign of the man when the earth and the sky already existed, and the clouds and the rain too were performing their function. As for these things, not even an ignorant fool could ever fancy that all this could be the work of a man or an idol or of a created being. In the case of the producing the fruits and making them serve as a nourishment for man, however, the simpleton may, on a superficial view, attribute this to human efforts and ingenuity. For one can see man digging the earth, sowing the seed, and protecting the plants. But the Holy Quran has in certain verses made it quite clear that the human effort has nothing to do with the act of growing trees and bringing out the fruits. For the human activity accomplishes nothing more than the removing the hindrances to the birth and growth of a plant or protecting it from the being destroyed. Even the water which feeds the plant is not the creation of the farmer. All he does to make the water reach the plants at a proper time, in a proper quantity, the actual birth and growth of the tree, and putting the forth of the leaf, branches, and the fruit is the work of the divine power and of no one else, says the Holy Quran. Have you considered the soil you till? Is it you that give them growth, or we? 56:63. The only answer which a man can find to this question posed by the Holy Quran is that undoubtedly it is Allah alone who makes the plants grow. In short, this verse mentions for the qualities of Allah which cannot be possibly be found in the created beings. Having learned from these two verses that it is Allah and no one else who bring man into existence out of nothingness and provides the means of his sustenance through the earth, the sky, the rains, and the fruits, one cannot, if one possesses a little common sense, help acknowledging that Allah and no one else is worthy of all worship and obedience, and that the ultimate iniquity to turn away from Him who made man exist and gave him the meaning of the survival and growth, and to prostrate oneself before others who are as helpless as man. Allah has put man at the head of all his creatures so that the universe should serve him, while he should totally devote himself to the worship and remembrance of the Allah and obedience to him without distraction. So this is the very important point. This is the very important point. Why we are here? Why we are here? We're just here to devote ourselves to worship and the remembrance of Allah. We are here. Allah created us for His worship only. All the other things, all the creatures that Allah in the universe that Allah created, they are also serving us. Like you can see the earth that is serving us, the sky serving us, the sun serving us, the moon serving us, the air serving us, the animals, we eat animals, right? We eat goats, we use the milk of the animals, right? We use the grain, we use the flowers, we use the seeds, we use lots of things, and everything Allah Rabbul is created, and everything is serving us in the universe. And he didn't want anything from us instead of his worship, his obedience only. So this is our purpose of life, to be here. Why we are here in this world. I used to think why we are in this world. Why Allah Rabbul Izzat created me. So I found the answer from the Holy Quran. I found the answer from here. Okay. But they are the men so given to their indolence and ignorance that they forget the one good, and in consequence have to serve a billion goats in order to rescue man from his slavery to others. The Holy Quran said at the end of this verse, فَلَا تَجْعَلُوا لِلَّهِ أَنْدَادًا وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ. So don't set a parallel to Allah when you know. Don't set a parallel to Allah when you know. Right? So we finished the 22nd ayah. Inshallah, we will meet in next video. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.